back again. Okay, I got you guys set up on another thing to hold my phone, which is going to be much easier for me to show you how I throw a ramen bowl. Okay, so we got our 2 pounds of clay. Again, I'm centering before I start to throw this ball of clay on the wheel, keeping in mind that the centering is not done yet until I get the wheel going. So I'm gonna get my wheel going, gotta get my hands wet, get water on top of that clay, and I am going to be pulling with my right hand this way, left hand that way, pushing in with my left hand, pulling with my right hand. Okay, and coming down with both thumbs to get it centered and balanced. The more you do this, the easier it becomes. It's the one thing I struggled with when I first started throwing. In 2012, at a class that I took for a few years. You can also center the clay by just pushing in the left hand a little bit if it doesn't feel completely centered. And the more you do this, the easier it is to feel that click when it does happen and the clay does come together. So there you go, it is centered. You can also tell by placing one finger here to feel if there's any wobbly. You can see it with looking at it, if there's wobbliness in it. But yeah, as you do this more and more, it becomes easier to center. And in my classes, I have many techniques to teach you how to get that centered. Most important is patience. Anyway, okay, now I'm going to open, which I'm pushing down into the center of the clay and stopping before I hit bottom. So we don't want to hit the bottom, put a hole in the bowl. Now I'm going to be pulling with my left fingers, pushing with my right. I keep a sponge because it keeps the clay moist. It's easiest for me. There's so many different techniques out there. You find what works for you. And as I put pressure on the walls of this clay, I'm pulling up underneath that ring of clay to make a cylinder. Okay, the top got a little wobbly, but I'm just going to press down and get that clean again. So if you can see, my wall is not very straight. So I'm going to come up under here to the base of the clay, and I'm going to push in there and pull up while I'm pushing on the inside of my left hand. And I'm going to slowly but consistently pull up, and as I get to the top, I loosen my grip. There we go. We're starting to form a bowl because it was a cylinder, went straight up, but now my left hand is turning this way, not turning, pushing this way to my right hand more to make the top wider. Always adding water. You don't want to have dry clay and have it catch. And here we go. And I'm pulling out more with my left hand to make the rim wide. Which, if you have a bowl that you want to make that is rounder on the bottom, I can show that later. But right now we're making a ramen bowl, which is more V-shaped. You could make a round ramen bowl if you like. Mine are known to be more V-shaped. I'm pushing on the base here with my hand and my fingers on the inside to get a little bit of a bubble there to allow me to pull up. And I go slowly but consistently, just like that. There we go. To get the top part, the rim, I should say, not top part, but the rim smooth, I use this cloth and just hold it down to smooth it out. Then I take this tool here. It's a wooden tool with a point on it. It allows you to grab clay underneath to get the extra clay off. I like to get that off of there. I take my sponge again to clean up the fat underneath. And then last, I take this fantastic tool that I got in the UK from a powder there. God, I wish I could remember his name right now. I'll get back to you on that. To put a footing on it. This allows a tiny little foot underneath to look good, and it's rounded. There's a small end and a large end. The small end I use for mugs for the most part. But yeah, it leaves this nice little footing on the bottom where you don't have to trim it later. I'm a potter who doesn't do a lot of trimming when it's bone dry. That's come from so much dust collecting in the air. It started worrying me what I was breathing in. So I wet trim all my pottery, which is what I teach in my classes. And wet trimming is taking a sponge and cleaning up all the little defects in there instead of taking tools when it's dry. You can, of course, trim when it's leather hard. I tend to not get to it in time, so my clay has always been, for the most part, been bone dry, and it's not a good time to trim because of the dust particles and the silica getting into the air. But there you guys have it. That's a ramen bowl. It is not quite finished because tomorrow when they dry more, I'll cover these with plastic. I do little notches out the side so you can set chopsticks across it. Okay, thanks for watching.